class, we discussed on division and we created LDG and ledger. Now we will talk on legal entity. So what is a legal entity? So legal entity, whenever we establish or we want to establish an organization in any country, we have to be registered before establishing the organization. Any organization which is registered under that country's governance is called as legal entity.
Any organization
which is registered under a country means if we have any registration under any country register office, then the firm is called as legal entity. Okay. This legal entity is a registered firm, and this legal entity, after registration, it doesn't have capability to hire an employee or run its payroll. This legal entity should be a legal employer to hire their employees. That is what legal employer. If you define a legal employer is nothing but a legal entity where they can hire employees. Ability to hire employees.
So tell me one thing.
Yeah.
So you told legal entity is a recognized party with the rights and responsibilities under commercial law, blah blah blah, through registration with the, okay, fine. So when you're registering your legal entity, suppose if you want to register as an employer, means you have to sign some additional some clauses or something like that, right?
Correct. We should form a legal employer. Yeah. And the legal employee
paperwork will be additional, will be there.
Yes.
So that okay.
So this legal employer have ability to hire employees but doesn't have ability to run the payroll. So this legal employer should be a PSU, payroll statutory unit, to run payroll to the employees of the company. Okay. Next we have registration unit and reporting unit. Whenever we define a legal entity, this registration unit and reporting unit are internally created in the system itself.
Okay.
Next we have TRU, which is called as tax reporting unit. So we have based when we run a payroll and when we are giving salaries to our employees, there should be a tax deduction in our company also. So based on the country's rules, based on the legislation, the tax deduction is changing.
Okay.
So we should assign a TRU to the system or TRU to the legal entity.
So basically, whatever income tax that is getting deducted from the employee salary, ultimately, like it will be sent to the central government or state government, whatever government, right?
Correct. Based on the country legislation and rules, this TRU will be there. Okay. Mainly we talk about this TRU in detail on payroll module.
Correct.
When we are discussing on payroll module, we will have a detailed discussion of this TRU. Let's start defining legal entity. So
whatever boxes you showed there, one by one we have to do it, right?
One by one we have to do it.
Okay.
So before defining a legal entity, we have to define a legal address.
Legal
address to that legal entity.
Okay.
Manage legal address is the task where we define the legal address. So define a legal address. So address line is Can give a legal address. Sorry, I am entering here in search. Sorry, it's my bad. We have to assign here. Assign a postal code. Search for the country first. We're having so here we had a location.
Yeah.
Save and close this location. After creating this legal address, we can go for legal entity.
Okay. So we'll be linking that legal address here, right?
Yeah, we will be linking this legal entity and manage legal. If you see here, we can go to this task manage legal entity.
Okay.
Create a legal entity.
Yeah.
1 minute. Cancel it. This legal entity is already created, so it's
Oh, it's
not
fine.
going.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So there you have to put the checkbox, right?
Correct.
PSU and
Here, to
legal
enable
employer.
it, we have to give a checkbox.
Hmm.
So let's save and close it. Under
Then the other two things will come now. What's it? Register some unit and reporting unit.
correct. We will discuss on those two. There should be a task. For example, we'll create outside. Why? Because they should be a task called as in the scope itself, it has to come. What it has to come is either to create a legal entity or to edit the predefined legal entity.
Hmm.
This is how it has to come.
Hmm.
So here we can give as India.
Okay.
So we can create our legal entity.
Yeah.
Name of the legal entity as
So for Oracle HCM implementation, the minimum requirement is it should be a legal employer, right?
Yeah. In our company, we should have legal entity and we can have the legal employer enabled. I will show you.
No.
See,
For if you want to implement HCM, it should have that is a minimum criteria, correct?
means there should be hundreds of legal entities. In that, some should be legal employees, some should be PSUs. For example, under a company, we shouldn't say there is only one minimum requirement. It should have it should be a legal employer and payroll statutory unit.
Okay.
And we can attach the legal address which we had given.
Correct.
So if you see here, if you enable the legal employer section, the payroll statutory unit is enabled. Why? Because we not yet selected payroll statutory unit.
Correct.
It means that this legal entity is having legal employers.
Yes.
If it is not a payroll statutory unit, we should choose another payroll statutory unit so that the employees in this legal employer should get the salary. So if you enable both, this section is be disabled. Why? Because this legal entity itself a PSU, so that they can run payroll here itself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can save and close it. We have to give a permanent account number. Okay. Then we created a legal entity. Let's go to implementation project. Let's see. Why we are not getting here, I'm not aware of. Okay.
Hey, one call is there, yeah? I think I have to join that call.
So can we spare for another 10-15 minutes?
No, that call is going to start now.
Okay, then we will wind up here. Next class, we will talk about how we assign this legal entity to our LDG and then to our ledger.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.